Hello and welcome to round 3 of LRC's The League here at Circuit de la Sarthe. We're getting ready for qualifying here to set the grid for the 13-lap feature race, which will take place after a 2-lap sprint. I'm Toasty and I'm joined in the commentary box by Wonka. How are you doing, Wonka?
I'm doing great. How about you, Toasty?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to see how this plays out. We have possible weather here at the French, what is it? 8 mile long track?
I don't know, to be honest. I know, so I know a surprisingly little amount of the Circuit de Sarthe, but it's an exciting track for sure. I should really study up on my history.
8.5 miles, 13.6 kilometers. I found the numbers here. So we were just talking before the stream went live. It is a very long way back to the pit lane, so drivers will have to really keep an eye on the weather radar when they're coming up to the pits because they do not want to get caught out in a rainstorm. And the weather has been quite back and forth in practice sessions. We do use the random weather here, so definitely something to keep an eye out, or an eye on the sky, as they say. So E-Jam's out here on the track first. He's coming through Tetra Rouge onto the Mulsanne straight, and he's been trimming more and more downforce off of that car. Um, it's going to be interesting to see how differently these cars handle in the corners, given that they don't have much downforce on the cars at all. It also carries a bit of a risk towards if and when it rains, they're gonna want grip on the front at least. Um, how do you set up a car differently for the rain, Walker? How do you drive differently?
I mean, when it comes to strategy, right, you can't really plan for the rain, so you might as well just plan to optimize your speed when it's dry. And then if it rains, it rains, and you just have to deal with it. To be honest, I think that's just the best approach. If it is raining and you know it's going to rain the entire race, you definitely want anything that's going to maximize your grip. So if you have more downforce, you can get more downforce, maybe a looser suspension, um, anything that will help you from losing grip around corners and potentially hydroplaning when there's puddles as well. So we'll see though. It's again. There's always a chance of rain, but there's always a chance that it doesn't rain too. So it's. I think most people just want to optimize their dry setups and then just deal with the rain when it comes.
That is a very good point. It's been a big talking point for the drivers, and there's been a lot of practice in the rain. But then again, we might not have any, as it's random. So at the end of the Mulsanne, here's the Mulsanne corner here. E-Jams and Silva coming through that now. They've been having quite a few battles in the first 2 rounds, haven't they? Going back and forth, a side-by-side action through many laps so far.
Yeah, to their own detriment, really.
Yeah,
The last race, really, they spent way too much time fighting each other and destroying their tires and allowing Alan to really take advantage of their additional pit stop that they had to do.
yeah. So we're looking at Allen now. He went a bit deep through Indianapolis, um, testing out the brakes on the car. Not up to temperature maybe, but this kind of brings us to another talking point. So he has a 0.5 second penalty. The penalties are going to be very n- they're not going to be great for the drivers here. It takes up quite a bit of time to serve them, and we see how close Azazel has caught up to Allen here, as he had to serve that penalty. So the track limits are a bit severe around here when it comes to especially the dotted lines on the Mulsanne. I think there's going to be a lot of track limit penalties going on and position swapping because of it. I think it might be a race of conserving and patience in that
Yeah,
regard.
and
Just trying
consistency.
to, yeah, consistency for sure. Just trying to keep out of that slow down zone.
For whatever reason in this game, Indianapolis, the corner, the right hand kink right before Indianapolis has like this zone where if you just cross like even a tiny bit, you get hit with a penalty, like a 3 second penalty. And like I always like try to cut that aggressively going into the left-hander 90-degree turn of Indianapolis, especially with high downforce cars. These won't be too bad because you don't need to really cut that corner to go into the corner straight to the braking zone. But for whatever reason, I get like a penalty there every single time. It's like really easy to get docked whenever you're going into that braking zone. But luckily, like the penalty is in the front of the straight that is ahead of the Porsche curves, and so it's not something where you're going to be losing an absolutely insane amount of time as you would if you were serving the penalty ahead of the Mulsanne Street or before any of the chicanes. So I don't think it's going to be as bad as it could be.
Right. So a couple of alternates stepping in for full-time drivers here today. So we have Bishop stepping in for Rogue, who I believe is watching on the stream. He said a quick hello. Um, yeah, so Bishop is driving the number 2 empowered Aston Martin alongside D-Jams and Stenzel. In the Lamborghinis, Team Bahamut, we have Azazel Allen and Dinosaur returning. The JFS Racing Ferraris, we have Bike Guru, Little Jacob returning, and KG as an alternate for Raleigh Rancher. McLaren, of course, Silva, Sir Hames, and Token Timmy for Seniolator, and the Southern Racing Boys, or Southern Boys Racing, also known as the Talladega Knights. We have Trackhead, War Eagle, and Lamb King. There they are in that amazing livery. I say it every time.
The Wonder Bread, yeah. I really love how they color coordinated the back side of the car for each of their drivers. I think
Yeah,
it's
the
like
the
such a
roof
cool creative, yeah, such a cool creative touch that they added for
in
each of
red,
their
yellow, and
drivers.
blue. So I believe the qualifying time has been extended to 15 minutes for this track, just to give the drivers 2 or 3 timed laps around here instead of just one, as it is about a 4-minute 19 lap time. We'll see if
Goodness,
anyone, yeah, we'll see if anyone dips down below that on low fuel, fresh tires.
I I just realized that it was their outlap that they had the first time around. It's just like a 4.5 minute outlap is so insane.
Yeah,
And then if you like have any damage and you need to go fix your car, oh my god, it's just brutal. You're basically done qualifying if you mess up your car.
right. Or if you have a penalty at the beginning of the lap.
Yeah.
So D-Jams here, I think he went wide in Indianapolis as well. It's catching out a couple drivers.
Yeah.
Going through the Ford chicanes now. I think that's going to be a 4-minute 22 the first time on the board, immediately beat by Jay Silva with a 4-minute 21. But I know these drivers can go a couple seconds faster than this. Maybe this is just oh, Allen's gone a 420, so he's responded to that right away. Last week's feature race winner, of course, and putting in a strong banker lap time early on. We say early on, it's been 10 minutes in.
Yeah, it's basically mid qualifying. They have what, maybe 1 lap left, 2 lap left, 2 laps left?
Yeah, it
Maybe
depends
not
on.
even two, because if they cross the line late and they still have 1 lap to go, I think there's a maximum time
Yeah,
after qualifying ends, right? I think it's a maximum of 3 minutes.
3
So I don't
minutes,
think they'll
yeah.
even be, yeah, I don't even think they'll be able to finish the,
So they'd need to be at least a minute 20 into the lap already.
yep. But Allen, with currently in pole position, he's been on fire the last 2 races.
Yeah, it really has. Um, Team Bahamut in general, they're leading the team championship going into this round.
Yeah, having a strong finish in the sprint race last week, and then also Allen taking the first place for the feature race. I think that really gained them the advantage over Empowered Motorsports. I think also Empowered had a few issues with damage in the sprint race that really cost them a lot of points in the beginning, and that set them back quite a bit. It looks like
Yeah,
here that DJams and Silver are kind of getting into a little bit of a battle here
yeah, they're wanting to
during
race already.
qualifying.
I've been watching it. Silva got a massive slipstream off of DJM's back in that Aston Martin. He was 1.6 seconds up in between the two chicanes. 1.9 seconds now, so he's already looking at a 418.
But that's another thing that's pretty interesting with qualifying around here is you could take advantage of bump drafting and kind of both give yourselves an advantage when you're qualifying over the rest of the field. So there could be, yeah, like a situation here where you have one qualifying contender that is a clear 2 seconds ahead of someone else because they took advantage of a draft.
Yeah, probably the bump drafting thing probably not going to be a thing we see unless it's between teammates, but you never know. In the race, it could be it could become a factor.
I'm surprised that none of the teams have arranged that yet. You know, it's not illegal to do that on this course and during qualifying. So I'm surprised no one has thought of that and took advantage of that so far. Or maybe they have, maybe we haven't seen. Maybe that's why Allen was at the top. I don't know. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, so for most drivers, it looks like 12 and a half minutes into the session. For most drivers, their next lap is going to be their last lap. The tire wear is also going to affect them there. So, how much do you think the Silva went a bit wide? I think that might give him a penalty here. He was just heading into the forward chicanes, and he's out of the Porsche curves, and he went a bit wide on the exit.
I
Let's
think
see if he
he
gets away
just
with
had
it.
enough. Yeah, I think he just had enough of curb entering the corner on the exit to be within track limits in the
Yeah, he
game.
must have. He lost a lot of time though.
Yeah,
He,
he did.
yeah, 4:19.9. Still at the top though, closely followed by DJM's less than 4 tenths. So Silva might
That
be.
could have also maybe been intentional to get DJs in front of him so he can get the draft again down the straight. So I don't know. Maybe that was a tactical move.
Yeah, it's possible. Allen has brought his car into the pit lane. Looks like he's done for qualifying. AG's but just picked up a 1.5 second penalty in the first chicane, so that'll be his lap done. Basil here in 5th place, Jacob in 6th. War and Trackhead, Talladega Nights duo of the 3 in 7th and 8th. Denzel in 9th, 10th place. Because let's see who jumped up the order here. Might have been KG. Back with Silva and DJams. DJams went deep into the first chicane. Looks like he's just backing off, so he's not. He doesn't want to give the slipstream to Silva, and he's returned to the pits. So that'll be DJams done for qualifying.
At this point, Silva could probably just call it on his lap unless if he's ahead, just to secure that pole position. I don't think KG or Azazel are going to be competitive in taking that pole position today.
Yeah, we'll see here if Azazel's able to improve on his 5th position here. Currently 3 seconds down from Silva's time, and it doesn't look like he's improving on this lap so far. Bill Jacob, however, 2/10 up.
I think you were right earlier talking about how this race is mainly going to be a race of consistency and not pace. Just seeing the amount of penalties that people have been picking up just in this, these 2 laps, is definitely. I think it's going to be a combination between consistency and not getting too many penalties, and then also strategizing, strategizing around drafting and positioning yourself against other cars and potentially fuel management as well. I'm actually pretty curious to see the different types of strategies that people are coming up with for fuel and tires for this race, because it's going to be time-wise shorter than the other races, but it's not going to be as intense on the tires, I believe.
Yeah, it always seems to be a combination of all of those things you listed, but it's kind of oh, Stenzel went right off the track at Mulsanne corner. But yeah, it's always about what they choose to prioritize, right? Because you can't do all of it, or you're gonna be well off the pace. It looks like yeah, Azazel might be the only one who is. Oh, we've got a few cars still, but Azazel has a 0.5-second penalty at the end of his lap.
Yeah, and the penalty will double when he finishes his time, since he won't be serving the penalty during the
Right.
straight. It's going to be interesting, especially with fuel, because you're not going to be able to fuel save all that much in this race relative to some place like Catalunya, for example, where there's the straight, you can let off before all the braking zones and the turns. Here, it's just you're on the gas for so long. You could potentially use a different fuel map, but you're just gonna lose an insane amount of time. I don't know what other strategies you could potentially use to save fuel around here, and if it's
Right.
gonna be beneficial enough to, save you a pit stop or whatever. So I'm curious how to see how this plays out.
All right, so we're gonna take a short break before the 2-lap sprint, and it's a good time to look at the standings here. So coming into round 3, looks like we have D-Jams at the top with his Aston Martin at 43 points. I say at the top, but he's tied with Alan in the Bahamut Lamborghini, also at 43 points. Guru in third with the JFS Racing Ferrari at 36. Stenzel in fourth, Azazel in fifth place, And that rounds out the top 5 of the driver's standings. Moving on to the team standings. So Bahamut Lamborghini currently with 90, is it 91 points? Yeah, I think I'm reading that right. Screen's a bit small. 91 points for Bahamut. Powered Motorsports, Aston Martin, 78 points. And JFS Racing in third place in the team standings at 65.
It's a tight field. I think Bahamut what deserves being in first place. They did a really good job with all the races actually so far. The opener was probably the most impressive, the 1, 2, 3 in the rain. Granted, they did have an advantage with their all-wheel drive chassis, but Alan taking the win in Catalonia for the feature race. I think he also got a podium on. I think it was the podium on the first feature race in Nürburgring. I'm not sure. I'd have to
Nürburgring
double check
GP,
the
yeah.
yeah.
And then
So
the opening round, of course, like you were saying, the
yeah,
1, 2, 3.
and like I was saying earlier, Empowered Motorsports had that unfortunate incident during the sprint race last
You're
week,
right, yeah.
which caused
Well,
DJMs and Stenzel to have damage. So the two front runners to be damaged the entire race. I think they finished somewhere along the lines of ninth and 10th that race, and that really hurt them a lot. I think if they weren't unlucky in that, I think it was turn 3, I think they'd be right up there with Bahamut in the points. They'd probably run some in the high 80s.
yeah. Well, they'll definitely be hoping for some better luck today, whether it's with the weather or just keeping out of trouble in general. It's like Jay Silva picks up pole position for the feature race coming later today with a 419.9. There was some chats among the drivers in game um, in the Gran Turismo chat talking about possible 418s, but no one was able to put it together, unfortunately. It's a 4-minute 20.3 for DJams in second. Ellen with a 4-minute 20.8. KG in fourth place, and fifth goes to Azazel. So that'll be later on. We're just setting up for the 2-lap sprint now. Which may sound somewhat short, but it's going to be about 10 minutes long, I think.
Looking at the wind conditions, we got a crosswind, which is not going to have too much an effect on the cars, I believe. There's not a direct tailwind or a direct headwind going down the Mulsanne, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that might
I think
change though. The weather changes quick around here. On lap 2 or leading up to the pits on lap 1, you gotta keep an eye on the sky and the
the
radar
radar,
because
yeah.
yeah, it's easy to get caught up in a battle and forget about it and then simply be, you know, in a rainstorm by the end of the Mulsanne. Um, it's definitely worth it if it starts to even look like it's going to rain. To not risk it, put some intermediates on. Um,
Yeah, that's an interesting like dilemma. You know, if you think it's gonna rain, is it always worth putting on intermediates and then just having a slow lap if it doesn't rain and you'll still be like okay? It's probably yeah, I guess it's probably gonna be better to put intermediates on and go a whole lap with intermediates if it doesn't rain. But I guess if it continues to not rain, you have to basically switch back to some type of racing tire
right.
because your intermediates are going to be destroyed by the time you get back to the pit lane. So you'll end up having two pit stops, but then I suppose, yeah, the other side of the pendulum is you get caught out with, racing tires, slicks, and you probably lose an equal amount of time. It's like a lose-lose situation here. It's also
Yeah,
like an insane uh, risk-reward kind of situation.
yeah. The extreme wet weather laps with wet tires on. I've been hearing about a 4 minute 50 seconds. Um, so yeah, it's a massive difference, but it would be even more if you were caught out there with slick tires for sure. Probably a 6 minute lap if you can keep it on the track, of course.
Yeah, if you can keep it on the track. That's the minimum. Yeah, that's the minimum. Astute Donkey, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the channel. Welcome to LRC.
It's an amazing name. And also Imatsima. Hold on, gotta get this name right.
I'm Autismo.
Imautismo. There we go. Yes.
If you guys or girls or non-binaries like to play Gran Turismo and want to be involved, check out the Discord link on the screen. LRC is uh, we like to just call ourselves like a community of, I guess, I guess we are driving enthusiasts, but the overall theme of LRC is that it's a learning community, and we all of our events have some aspect of improving our racecraft or our knowledge of the craft, and it's been it's been pretty solid so far. I think we're about close to 100 members now. I think last time I checked, we were at like 80s, so quite a decent amount of people.
Yeah, it's been expanding quite a bit. Um, more recently. So it's been great to see the new faces and get them involved in all the events that we have in store. Oh, what is the next monthly is it the FTGP? I always forget the acronym.
FTGP, yeah, it's the first Tuesdays Grand Prix, but we don't do them on first Tuesdays anymore because the league has taken precedence. But we kept the name, so it's
Oh,
still
that's right.
FTGP.
FTGP, yeah. So I think the next one is at Suzuka with the Group 2s versus the Group 3s NSXs.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be good.
Yeah.
That'll be fun to watch. What date is that on? Let's see.
I think it's
That would
December.
be December 10th.
Yep.
The Honda, officially named the FTGP Honda Challenge.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one. That's one
FTGP is,
with
yeah,
some
go ahead, sorry.
weather possibility as well in a 90-minute race. That'll be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I was just about to mention it's a 90-minute race. It's multi-class for those who aren't familiar with our FTGP races. It's multi-class, and we typically do a qualifying where the first round is determines whether you're going to be in the first class or the second class, and then the second round of qualifying is to determine the order of um, the cars within your class. It's always great fun. Uh, the last one was no, the last one wasn't the Red Bulls. The last one was the Audis, right?
Yeah,
At
the Audi
at Spa.
Cup
Yeah.
at Spa with the Group 1s and Group 3s Audis.
Yep. We also have. We used to do the monthly, but it's become a little bit more sparse now. But we'll do a time attack event, and we'll plan one out for this winter. I don't know if it's going to happen in December, but we'll have one either December or January, and we typically post our events in advance on the Discord. So if you are interested, join the Discord. There's an events channel, and it has everything, all the information there you need.
So this is an interesting situation for the driver. We had a little bit of rain roll in, and the track is just a little bit slick. Not enough to need the intermediate tires, but you're gonna need to be careful on those slick tires.
And this is where it gets really dangerous. I think going out on softs makes a lot of sense. I think you can kind of nurse the softs a couple laps, and they're much easier to race when it's slightly moist out. I think it's a lot more dangerous if you're going to go for a harder compound. So I think a lot of people are
Yeah.
turning to softs right now. It seems like. I think that's just also because of the sprint race is only 2 laps, right? So
Yep.
softs probably make the most sense. The order of the grid of the sprint race is in reverse championship order. So we see that I think Lil Jacob will have pole position for the sprint race. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right, I forgot to mention that. A reverse order of the driver standings.
I really like reverse grid order or reverse driver championship standings for the sprint race. I feel like Formula One should do that. It would be so much more interesting if they
Yeah.
had like a reverse championship order sprint race for like ahead of every single weekend race. I think that would be really fun. I feel like the current sprint races that they have, it just doesn't really add that much. But if it was reverse championship order, I think it would add a lot.
Yeah, that would be cool. And then make the feature races a little bit shorter.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so that they could run they could run faster around the track. That would be a lot of fun to watch. Well, it looks like the last few drivers are just getting their cars set up for the session. 2 lap sprint race around here. Could start shortly. I think we might see a faster lap time in the sprint race than in qualifying.
Looks like the wind has picked up a little bit and is starting to point slightly in the direction of the Mulsanne Street. And they might be getting a little bit more speed down there.
Oh yeah.
Down where it matters the most.
It'll make the braking into the chicanes a bit more difficult, but
Yeah.
a bit of a crosswind into Indianapolis is always a bit weird as well. Oh, Jacob goes spinning around. Alright, looks like we got the cars on the grid ready for the sprint. Little Jacob is starting in first with Bishop in second in the first row. Timmy and Lamb King in second row. Oh, here we go then, the lights are on. And it's go, go, go for little Jacob and Bishop in the front. The Renault Meganes had a massive start, like they always do. Lamb King making it 3 wide into Dunlop. Takes the inside away from B-Chip. And Azul Jacob leading Token Timmy and Lamb King into turn 2 under the Dunlop sign and into the S's. KG's made it up to 3rd place already. Trackhead, after that amazing start, down to 5th place with Sir Hames just on the back of him. Oh, D-Jams and Alan starting to make some moves. You have D-Jams right in the middle of all the Bahama Lamborghinis. Currently a JFS Ferrari 1-2 in the front. Here comes Sir Hames around the outside in the chicane. Oh, can't make it work though. Doesn't get the car stopped. And through the bollards there between the chicane. I pick up a penalty for that.
It's that extra speed down the first straight. Looks like the wind hasn't really changed much, but it looks like maybe there's less grip going down.
Silva's just gone through the middle of his 2 teammates.
It's really cool seeing all 3 McLarens just
top speed, yeah, that was a really cool angle. He just snuck through and right onto the back of the 2 Talladega Nights Wonder Bread livery cars. They're making a roadblock for him though. He's gonna try it again through the middle. And McLaren is flying down the straights up into 3rd place for Silva. By the end of the Mulsanne straight. Oh, into Mulsanne corner. Trackhead looked like he was gonna try a move on the inside. He gets a bit twitchy there on the wheel. And just to save it though, he's alongside Silva again. Silva closes the door.
I don't want to jinx anyone, but it's been relatively clean racing. We haven't seen any incidents so far, so it's been good to see.
Yeah, it's been good. KG now within 2/10 of little Jacob. Jacob must have made a mistake somewhere because KG has gained a whole bunch of time and was much faster through that corner there, so better exit for KG. And around he goes into first. Yeah.
Yeah. Sprint races, KG is this is just right up his alley.
Before they get to the Porsche curves, there KG goes into first place with little Jacob behind. Silva in 3rd, Trackhead 4th, Denzel in 5th place. We have Sir Hames, Lamb King, Allen, and D-Jams. So Allen and D-Jams made it up to 8th and 9th already. About 3/4 of the way through the first lap now. Well, Allen's gone a bit wide through the exit of the Porsche curves, and D-Jams has slipped past his rival there. And Lamb King, he's on the inside going into the 4 chicanes. Lamb King tries braking late to go around the outside. D-Jams says no, just takes that position. Sir Hames got a bit sideways on the exit of the 4 chicanes over the start line. D-Jams takes that position as well, up to 6th for him.
Yeah, that was a good final sector for D-Jams. I was just going to make a comment that it looked like it's kind of hard to make your way through the field because this course is so fast, but he's been capitalizing on the mistakes of others and kind of just giving that
Yeah, the drivers have been talking about how fast the track is, and there's not that many opportunities to pass. Um, Even though the track is so wide in places, but DJams is just turning every place into an overtaking opportunity, especially in the straight here. It's just, I mean, we were talking before about how he's trimmed the downforce on the cars, and Wonka, I think we might be seeing some team bump drafting
Some
here.
teamwork, yeah, we see it. D-Jams and Stenzel trying to pull away from Allen.
Yeah. Oh, Stenzel overcooks it into the chicane. I don't think he compensated for
The
the
extra
extra
speed,
speed, the speed
yeah,
boost.
yeah. It's really jarring to see how much more speed you have going into a corner from bump drafting. Like you have to move your braking reference up way further, and it's definitely something that's very tricky to get right.
Allen has just swooped around the outside of Stenzel here, going into the chicane 2. But he does have a 2-second penalty, so that's really going to hurt him coming halfway through the lap or so, where that slowdown is.
Yeah, it seems like Stenzel maybe lost a little bit of confidence there going into the second chicane after going a little deep in the first.
Yeah, it's always difficult to get the next corner right after you've gone off of one because your kind of reference for your speed is off.
Yeah. Rogue says in chat, do you have any food sponsorship coupons you want to shout out? So we had I think we talked once about Subway. We talked once about Quiznos, but we have yet to mention another one. We don't want any of our drivers to fall under the coupon curse, so I think we'll keep that to a minimum.
Yeah, that's a good name for it, the coupon curse. Silva up to second. So he got past Jacob at some point and has set his sights on KG. And we know how fast that McLaren is here. He did get pole position, and he was talking about a 418. But it's also the final
Jason
lap.
was, yeah, he's having a good race. The past two races, particularly the first, he's had a lot of trouble with penalties and incidents that were reviewed after the race. And the second race, he's cleaned up considerably. In this race, it looks like he's done an even better job of being clean. So it's good on him. He's been improving a lot during the course of the league season so far.
Oh, KG's got a 1 second penalty. Silva doesn't need to get it done on the track, but he still wants to. Going through those 4 chicanes. Oh, but he's lost a bit of time. I think KG's got this. Oh, just
I think,
barely.
yeah,
Wow. What an opportunity there for Silva, but just went deep in between the two 4 chicanes while trying to make the pass. I don't think he
uh,
really made the decision whether he wanted to get it done on track or not, and that ended up putting him in second place.
that was even with the double, the double,
Oh, it
yeah,
doubles, doesn't it? From the one
yeah.
second. Okay, yeah, he might have gotten that spot then.
Although it would have shown up already that Silva had gotten first if I think it's legit. I think these are the final standings.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Everyone just finishing the 2 lap sprint here. DJams with the fastest lap of a 4-minute 20.2. Check on the results here. So, yeah, KG with the yeah, it did end up being a 1 second penalty total.
Wow.
So KG takes first place despite the penalty. Silva in second with zero point 0.6 seconds behind after it being 1.6 on track. Jacob in third. D-James with the fastest lap in fourth place. Trackhead fifth. Stenzel in sixth place. And that's the kind of result that Empowered needed for that sprint race. D-Jam coming all the way up from the last row to fourth place, and Stenzel maintaining a position high up the grid there. Allen in seventh, Lamb King in eighth, ninth and 10th go to Azazel and Bike Guru. Sir Hames and Bishop take 11th and 12th. Dinosaur in 13th place, Token Timmy and War in 14th and 15th place.
Looks like War maybe had some type of issue. Maybe there was an incident or something.
Yeah, he did seem a bit far back from the pack.
It's quite a mixed field. Like if you look at the results, like it looked like no teammates finished next to each other. It was basically all scrambled up.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it's just completely scrambled. That's really interesting.
That
Yeah,
was
it's getting
really
dark out.
really good to see though. The sprint race was it looked very clean from like anywhere we were looking. Like there wasn't any contact from what we saw.
The nice thing too is that there is a lot of runoff in a lot of these corners, like the chicanes. There's pavement in the inside, so whenever they
That's
go off,
true. Yeah,
it's less likely that they'll re-enter in a way that's potentially dangerous or
yeah. Less
spin
likely
out or
to
anything.
end up
So
in the side of another car.
yeah, yeah, it's so much easier to re-enter safely when you have pavement next to the track as opposed to sand or gravel. So that's quite nice. Although we haven't had many issues yet where people had really poor reentries, maybe one or two, but I think the vast majority of incidents previously have come from just incidents in the corner themselves during the race. So we haven't seen that. We haven't seen much of that today, so that's good.
So 13 laps is the feature race distance here. So it's gonna be a bit shorter of a race than the first two, only because a lot of the distance covered here is just at full throttle in top gear. Just looking at the weather forecast here, looks dry so far. There's a chance we won't see any rain after all the talk about it.
Yeah, it was getting kind of dark there at the end of the sprint race. I was getting kind of concerned, but I forgot that that dinosaur
Gets
the
re-randomized, yeah.
yeah it gets reset every race. So I actually look forward to having a complete like a dry race. I think it'll make it more of an even, maybe more of an even playing field in terms of pace and consistency. I think it's really hard to have a legitimate race when it's raining here and you're caught out in the lap. It comes down more to luck when that happens, I think. And so I'm kind of glad that there is no chance of rain. Hopefully,
Yeah, it'll be good to see a race at some point, maybe it's today, without any sort of interruptions with weather or virtual safety car, a race, a future race where the drivers run their strategy to how they intended. But a lot of the times
yeah,
that's
much like
not how racing works.
yeah, yeah. Well, much like last week, the sprint race had a pretty bad incident first lap, but the feature race turned out to be pretty good, pretty clean.
Yeah, Yeah, there
seeing
were.
Alan execute his perfect, calculated two-stop strategy and not have any interruptions
Yeah,
was was very fortunate for him and Team Bahamut.
yeah. Or as they call it in their team, Bahamut.
Bahamut.
uh, Rogue in the stream chat saying, "Love that Jag. Just realized you have a new car every stream." Yeah, I've been switching it up on the cars I bring into the lobby. I might just bring something in that's just absolutely crazy next time, just to just to see the comments on it. Um, all right, so we've got the drivers. A lot of the drivers on soft tires. Are you surprised about that at all? Zazel on mediums.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Again, like I haven't actually had the time to do laps around Sarthe with GR4 cars and test, the tires and the fuel. So I'm coming into this kind of blind. Like I don't really know any of the strategies that are going to be employed and what's going to be best here. But I do think it's going to be easier to nurse soft tires on this than it would be some compared to some place like last week. Like Catalunya is really hard to maintain your tires.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely going to be more of a fuel restricted race than a tire one.
But again,
Jake.
yeah, there's 13 laps, right? So there's 13 laps.
Yep.
If Yeah, we'll see how it turns out. The other thing too is that saving tires and not doing um, and saving on a tire change saves you about 6 seconds max. So it's not really that huge of an advantage in the scope of a whole pit stop. So
Yeah.
it's always if you're gonna run maximum attack with as much as fuel as possible, you're gonna have to fill up on fuel, and you might as well just swap out your soft tires while you're there. I think it's not
Right.
worth having a harder compound. I think you're just not going to save the amount of time that you would like if you had a harder compound.
Yeah. So it seems like most of the drivers might be looking at a one stop here. Then they can save the fuel. Save a bit of time in the pit stop. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to see if a two stop will be a viable option.
I think the pit lane delta is pretty high here as well. I think you spend a little, probably about, I think, similar, just slightly less than you would in Catalonia.
Yeah, 50 seconds or so.
Yeah,
Um, without fuel.
yep. I think if I were in this race, I think it would be, it would obviously depend on my pace, but I would probably stick to, let's say if I was in pole position or I was contending for the top two spots, I think it would be probably a really good strategy to stay behind your opponent and save fuel down the straights, especially if the wind is going against you during most of it. You could save quite a bit of fuel on your first stint if assuming everyone's doing a one-stop strategy. You could save a ton of fuel and then you would require less time in the pits since the refuel speed is so slow. I
That's
think you'd gain
true, yeah.
a significant advantage.
Yeah, that's definitely a good strategy. Use the slipstream behind a teammate to your advantage. Shift up into top gear early and just kind of half throttle down the straight. Let them pull you along. Maybe switch a couple laps. Every couple laps, switch cars. That'd take some coordination, but
I think it's also tough though because I just thought of this now because even though you could be behind, let's say first place for example, if they make a mistake then all of a sudden you're in front of them, and then your strategy just kind of goes out the window.
Right. I forgot. I just have to. Wondering why my in-car camera won't load the in-car camera. So what do I have to do for that? I remember. Do I just change what car I'm in so it's not loading the interior? Let's see.
I don't think I've ever ran into that issue before, to be honest. So it's not letting you see the interior camera for other cars?
Yeah. Or maybe it's just the hotkey that's not on the keyboard. Looks like they're doing their formation lap now.
I think
Yeah,
the hotkeys for like G or H or J, it's one of those.
yeah,
There
none
you
of those are really working out. I'm just using the controller now to switch between.
Okay.
Alright, minor technical difficulties, but should be alright. Oh, it's a good thing penalties don't carry over. Alan's got a 3 seconds somehow.
World's longest formation lap.
Yeah. Yeah, they are taking it at 140 miles an hour or so, but it's still a bit long.
We'll see it this time if anyone has any issues getting to their grid spots.
Yeah. The grid spots are after the finish line on this track, so. Oh. Looks like they're stopping at the end of the Mulsanne straight. Interesting. Just didn't want to go all the way around.
Yeah, it's probably in the interest of saving time, I assume.
Here we go then. Nice. Looking to me just beating the grid there. Dino reversing into him. And Silva starting to do donuts. It looks like they're ready to go. Alright. Getting set on the grid. Silva in pole position on our right hand side of the screen. DJM's on the left. Alan and KG just behind. The lights going on here at Le Mans. Go, go, go. Silva off the line, gets a good start. This wide shot here, see all the cars going through Dunlop DJM's alongside on the inside. Into turn 2 here, looks like he's got ahead. He'll be able to cover off Silva here going into turn 3, looks like it. Ellen getting very sideways through turn 3, manages to keep it pointed in the right direction. Holding up a few behind, they're bunching up a bit because of that, but manages to keep third place here. And DJM still maintaining that first place, going through Tetra Rouge onto the Mulsanne.
It's such a joy to see these two battle it out again. I feel like it's gonna be like this all season.
Yeah, I hope so. It has been really entertaining to see. Now, is Silva gonna conserve fuel here, or is he gonna go for it? What do you think? Looks like DJM's taking an early defensive move there on the inside. He certainly thought Silva was going to go for it.
Yeah, Silva's a pretty aggressive driver, so I think he'll take any opportunity that he gets. Very clean through the first chicane. Looks like they're gonna go side by side down the second half of the straight. I was gonna say this is kind of reminiscent of last week where we saw them fighting and KG kind of jumped in as well, and then Allen kind of just reaps the benefits of this whole time.
Yeah, this is the exact same setup. Silva just sneaks past there in the second chicane, and look who's just behind them, KG and Allen.
Yep.
DJM's, he might be committing to a one-stop strategy early on here. Looks like he's shifting early. He was talking earlier about how his battle with Silva in Catalunya was kind of messing up his strategy, although it was really fun for us to watch. It wasn't ideal for him, so he might just be backing out of that battle for now.
Yeah, he was pretty frustrated, it seemed, when we interviewed him at the end of the race that he and Silva had gotten into such continual fighting every lap at the beginning of the race, and I think maybe he's kind of learned from that and is probably tempted to save fuel or hang back just a little bit instead of competing for that first spot every lap.
KG through Indianapolis, then followed closely behind by Silva. And then DJM's Allen or Lil Jacob has gotten a 1.5 second penalty already on the first lap. He's going to lose a couple places there.
Sandra Diaz, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it.
Further down the field here, we have Zazel Token Timmy. Bishop has also had some trouble. Picked up a 1 second penalty as well. Through the Porsche curves here. This is such a great shot, seeing the change of direction. And here they come to the Forge Canes, ready to finish their first lap here at Le Mans.
Yeah, this might actually be a good track for KG since it's fuel limited. He has trouble with saving his tires, but that might not be an issue this race. He might have to pit for fuel before tires really become an issue for him. So I think he might actually be in a good position here for this race.
Yeah, that's a good point. KG always chooses the soft tires, although last time out we saw him branching out a little bit on the one stint on the mediums and the hards at Catalunya. Wasn't really to his liking though. He's back on the soft tires like he's used to, and everyone else is too for the most part. Bit of a gap here back to Sir Hames, a bunch of cars from 6th on to 10th. And then we have another pack here. So the field is kind of divided into 3 packs, it seems like. We were talking about the strategy, 1 stop versus 2. I'm not sure if KG is saving enough fuel here. He's revving the car out all the way through the power band, so he might be thinking about a 2-stop already.
He's already down to a quarter fuel.
Yeah, Silva is just picking up the slipstream, the tail end of it there, and saving much more fuel. But D-Jams has much more in reserve. It looks like he's gonna try and gain all the time in the pits. As we were talking about, the refuel rate is quite slow compared to other series. Using the real life GT4 regulations.
Rogue put in chat 2 liters per minute, but it's like a typo. Imagine that pit
2
stop.
liters per
2
minute.
liters. You go take a nap.
Yeah.
He says it honestly feels like 2 liters per minute.
Oh, sometimes it does, yeah.
It's especially painful when you're in the pits and you have to fuel and you just see like the arrows of your opponents on the track mini map like coming around the corners and you're like getting closer and closer as you just have to sit there and wait for your fuel to go up.
Definitely. That is something they will definitely want to avoid. Silver looks like it takes a much wider line going into the Porsche curves. I'm wondering if that has to do with just straightening the racing line to save the tires, or some other reason. Maybe it's setup related. Just doesn't have the front end on the car to get it turned. But that McLaren is very, very fast on the Mulsanne straight. Basically just have to manage it everywhere else, it seems like.
Yeah, it doesn't seem that he's really nursing his tires at all going into the Porsche curves. It looks like he's going into there pretty aggressively. Like we were talking about earlier, it seems like tire wear is pretty much a non-issue due to fuel being so limited. But D-Jams has dropped back a little bit. He's still at 3/4 filled of his tank. Let's see, if he's 3/4 and he just finished 2 laps, that's gonna put him at lap 8 for a pit stop. If my math is correct.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
So that's well more than enough you need for a one-stop strategy.
Yeah, he's conserving fuel quite a bit. We'll have to see how that plays out. Alan's just Alan's just picking up the slipstream of the Aston Martin. D-Jams won't want to conserve too much because they'll have Alan asking him.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he wants to save enough for an additional lap and take another lap on light fuel, or save all that time strictly refueling. All three cars go through the same line wide into the chicane.
Yeah.
Easy mistake to make when you're following.
Zazel looks like he has front aero damage on the car. Wondering if there was an incident that put Dino and Zazel towards the back here. So KG extending the lead to over 2 seconds now. Kind of at the expense of his tires. Putting in the fastest lap of a 4:19.8, which beats Silva's pole time of a 4:19.9. Yeah, KG is just flying away now. I think he's realizing that if he's gonna make the two-stop strategy work, he just has to put in quali laps every time around.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough. He's about 7. Okay, so assuming Silva's gonna do a one stop, looks like maybe he's 6, 7 seconds ahead of Silva. If he can do 6, 7 seconds per lap gained, that still won't be enough. I think the delta in the pit lanes is going to be a lot more than that. It's going to be at least 20 seconds, if not more.
Well, Silva is taking some very smooth lines through the Porsche curve and Ford chicane now. I think he's just settling in onto the 4th lap now. Definitely keeping KG in his sights though, without letting him get too far away. And he's closing in, so about 4/10 he's gained since the start of the lap. Yeah, it looks like Silva might be wanting some more of that slipstream to save more fuel. Jams meanwhile down to 9.7 seconds or so behind the lead of KG. Allen 2 seconds behind him, or 2 seconds behind him. And then we have the second pack of cars, Sir Hames, Jacob, Mike Guru, and Stenzel track it as well. Lamb King, Token Timmy are a bit far off from those two packs at the moment. Dino and Azazel following closely behind. Token Timmy with D-Ship at the back. And Silva has picked up a half-second penalty, so that's certainly not going to help him here. Are you there, Wonka, or did I lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Just taking care of the stream chat.
Yeah. I'm also just I'm looking at D-Jams, and he's fallen back quite a bit. Almost 10 seconds behind Silva. And if Silva's actually, 5 seconds behind KG, that's 15 seconds. So KG actually might have a chance to finish in the top 5, I think, with a two-stop strategy.
Yeah. Oh, especially if Silva does more of that. He was 2 tires in the gravel at the exit in Indianapolis. He was really cutting it close there, isn't that? Now he's gonna have to be slowing down in this penalty zone. lose about 2 seconds to KG now.
Yeah, KG's been doing a good job. I think he got a penalty early on, but since the beginning of the race, he's been on fire. I just hope his two-stop strategy isn't going to put him too far back.
So KG's front left tire is looking pretty worn now, and he's gone into the pits. So certainly on a two-stop strategy now.
Yeah, most definitely.
As if he went onto the mediums, he would have to save a lot of fuel to get to the end. So probably knowing KG, 2 more sets of soft tires for him. Or if he can short fuel it here to keep the car light just to get to the end of the second stint.
Yeah, when he comes out of the pits, that's going to be pretty much his net position. And you'll have to make up positions from there. So he's fallen back quite a bit. Looks like he's probably in 10th right now? 11th? Yeah, 10, 11. Yeah, it's going to be tough. He's going to be fighting for a net position from potentially 14th or 15th place. He's going to have to make up all that time back just strictly on track.
Yeah, he's dropped to last now, so Broken Timmy and the Bahamut pair of Dino and Azazel B-Ship all passing him there. So that puts Silva in the lead.
Looks like Azazel has some front wing damage.
Yeah, I mentioned that earlier. I think there might have been an incident that they were involved in that put them that far back in the field to begin with. I don't know. Might be a possible thing to look at for the stewards. It looks like the gap to Silva for D-Jams is 8.2 seconds, kind of keeping steady there. I'm looking at how much more fuel D-Jams has saved, and I mean, at what point is conserving too much conserving? Because he's I mean, I guess it's not a crazy amount, but it's probably an eighth, a bit more than an eighth of a tank.
An eighth of a tank? That's a pretty decent amount. That's like an eighth of a tank would probably be around, let's say 12, give or take 12 liters of fuel. 12 liters of fuel, that's about what? 6 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah, 6 seconds. So, it's actually not that much, yeah. In the grand scheme of this track, the fuel saving, that much fuel saving for 6 seconds is not, I don't know if it's going to be worth it. He's about, oh yeah, he's about 8.5 seconds behind Silva, so that's actually going to be pretty close.
Maybe it's a bit more than an eighth of a tank, I can't tell. It's hard to tell, rather. So, Allen in third, followed by War Eagle. Wart's running a pretty good race right now in fourth place. He isn't too far from the front. Little Jacob in fifth. Stenzel has made his way up to sixth place.
I think for War and Little Jacob, that's the highest positions they've been in the week so far.
Yeah, I think so. in the feature races at least. Beckett and Lamb King 9th and 10th right now, so all three Talladega Nights drivers in the top 10 and one in the top 5, so that'll be great for their team points. Now I'm looking at Silva's tire wear here. Just started lap 6 with not much left on his front left. Maybe he has taken a bit too much out of that tire. I think he might force him onto the mediums. Or, oh wait, let's see. So 6.5 laps would be about halfway through, I guess. So maybe if he saved a bit more on the tires, he could make a second set of softs work.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet that the initial opening laps kind of wore out his tires a little bit more than he'd like, similar to last race. I think if we put on the soft tires for the next stint, I think he should be good because he's coming in at the end of lap 6. He'll have another 7 laps, probably with little battling. So I think he'd be able to win. Again, I think also I don't know how really worn tires really affect your lap times here, because for the most part of the track you're just going straight essentially. So turning isn't gonna really kill your time as much as it would on some other tracks.
Yeah, it seems like most of the time loss would be in the Porsche curves, any of the high-speed cornering. Not so much in the chicanes. James is reaching right now, second chicane. Doesn't seem like he's getting too much understeer there.
It seems my mic has gone quiet. Is this better?
Yeah, it's better now.
Okay. I'm gonna be eating a little bit of dinner, so I'll be hopping in and out of the commentary.
Okay, no problem. So War Eagle looks like he's caught up just a bit to Allen. See that pale blue Lamborghini? About 3 seconds behind. And I'd imagine that a lot of the drivers are going to be opting to dive into the pit lane at the end of this lap here. As we were saying before, first couple laps when you're battling for position does take a lot more out of your tires. There we go. See what Silva does here. Well, probably know what Silva's gonna do. He's gonna pit for tires. Whether or not James is gonna do another lap, try the overcut. Allen and War through the Porsche curves. Yeah, James has certainly done the most conserving so far, and really not far behind. I mean, he's at second place, so I think that says a lot about his pace, or potential pace. running, and the 4:23.4 was his fastest time compared to KG's a lap of 4 seconds faster, so not a massive difference with a track this long, 8.5 miles, but
I'm interested to see if D-Jams is going to push on this lap and really go for that that overcut. If he goes full throttle, because he's got the extra fuel.
yeah. Yeah, he's a tenth up into the first sector with the worn tires, so I think you might be right.
Yeah, yeah, he's going for that overcut. I think that's a good strategy by him to save and then overcut Silva in the pits so that he doesn't have the time loss of trying to pass him on track. I think that's smart move by D-Jams.
Yeah. KG here going for a move into turn 1. Makes the move before turn 2. It was a little deep though into the braking zone. Still manages to keep ahead of Azazel. So KG made his way up to 4th place after it looked like 4th through 9th made their pit stop. And he's going to be pitting probably at some point later as well. Actually, he's gone onto the medium tires. So our prediction about KG was wrong here. He's on the mediums. Not sure if he's going to have enough fuel for the end, but yeah, it doesn't seem to be conserving fuel at all down the straights. D-Jams might have lost a bit of time on that push lap to the pits. 1.2 seconds down on his fastest. And Alan's a bit closer than he was before.
Yeah, I think it's going to be close between D-Jams and Silva. D-Jams has saved a little bit on fuel. He's going to maybe have probably anywhere between 8 to 10 seconds on fuel saving, based on what we saw earlier.
Yeah.
And right when he pitted, it was about that gap. So it's going to be tight. Like if they come out right next to each other, it's going to be battling till the end.
Right. And since Silva had to pit at the end of lap 6, he's gone into medium tires. That's an interesting strategy choice. I think D-Jams might be able to, he'll definitely be able to put on another set of softs, going 1 lap less.
I wonder if Silva is anticipating a battle with D-Jams and has gone to the medium tire because he knows that he's going to use a little bit more tire battling D-Jams and might come out with an advantage in the
Yeah.
last few laps of the race.
Yeah, that's totally possible.
That would be pretty big brain right there.
That'd be a strategy within a strategy.
I mean, if he ends up next to him and he's able to battle him as much as possible, he could essentially induce a lot more tire wear in D-Jam's car as well. You know, he could intentionally just be trying to overtake him, causing D-Jams to wear out his tires more. You know, he could be more aggressive. He could be, as long as he's within the rules of and regulations of the passing guidelines, I think he could still wear out D-Jams' tires more than D-Jams would hope. But D-Jams chooses not to pit. He chooses to go another lap.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that. Yeah, that's interesting. That certainly wouldn't have been my call on strategy. So he's lap 8, still going on that first set of medium or soft tires. Sorry, 2/10 up on his first split time there. But yeah, I don't know if the front left is gonna hold up for much longer. Or maybe he missed the pit entry. I'm not sure. We're gonna have to ask him about that call if he joins us for an interview post race. And Silva is hopping past everyone who's pitting now, up into third place for him. Allen in fourth, and War in fifth. Jacob about 2.2 seconds behind War Eagle. We have a few cars in the pit lane. Like Lamb King has already made his stop, so he'll be catching up to those who are just pitting now. So on board with little Jacob here. Looks like he is trying to get all the speed out of that Ferrari as he can. Catching up to War Eagle here. Definitely his fastest lap so far. He is almost a second up on the exit of the first chicane, so starting to push hard towards the end of the race. And yeah, I think you could see just how much War is conserving here as Jacob has gained 7/10 on him. Yeah, Jacob will just swoop around the outside there. That was a easy move for him. I don't think War was trying to make it difficult for him. Or just continuing on his fuel-saving strategy there. There goes DJMs into the pits. So 8 laps on those soft tires. The fuel, I mean that is calculated. If he was working towards that target of fuel every lap, I mean you could see why he would have been conserving that much early on.
Yeah, it's an interesting strategy. I don't know if I quite agree with that being optimal. He probably lost quite a bit of time there because of his tire wear, and might have maybe lost out on the overcut against Silva. But we'll see when he comes out.
Yeah, Silva's not going to have the best time on their first lap of battling if they end up close to each other though, because he's got a 0.5 second penalty. Like he's just getting to the 4 chicanes now. DJMs won't have to put too much fuel into the car. Probably only, what, 5 laps left for him? there goes Silva. Oh, and there's DJM's exiting the pit lane now. So this is gonna be close.
Oh
Silva,
wow, right next to each other, yeah.
yeah. Around the outside into turn one goes Silva with the speed and into first place. But he does have that 0.5 second penalty from last lap. DJM's will just have to stick with him here, which will be not too difficult to do down the straights with that slipstream. How powerful it is.
Yeah, I think if you're DJMs right now, I think you just want to hang back and either wait till that penalty comes around or wait till Silva makes a really big mistake. But again, the problem is that that half a second isn't an insane amount of time. And if Silva makes a tiny mistake, it's going to put them side by side. And again, like, it's going to be, the more battling that's going to happen, I think it's going to be the worse off for DJMs.
So DJM's still short shifting here. You can hear it on board with him. Still gaining a bit though. In the draft behind the McLaren. So Silva obviously having to do some fuel management too towards the end.
How much fuel does Silva have compared to DJM's? DJM has like just over half, maybe 2/3, and Silva's sitting at where?
Just a bit less.
Just a bit less.
Slightly over half a tank.
Wow, we got a race.
Yeah. Meanwhile, KG up the road 22 seconds or so. Definitely gonna have to stop again for fuel at least. The fuel gauge just started blinking at him, so be interesting to see where he ends up, where he comes out after the two stop. Oh, here we go. This is the critical corner for DJM's Arnage, I think it's called. Silva pulling off of the racing line there. And that's DJM's up into, I think we can call it the net lead at this point.
Yeah, it's definitely the net lead. The question is, will DJMs be able to stay in front, maintain his tires? I think he's got enough fuel, so I don't think he's gonna have to fuel save that much. But is he gonna be able to nurse those tires without letting Silva battle him? Can he maintain that gap and not lose time as his tires start getting eaten away towards the last couple laps in the race?
Yeah, I think the problem that he faces now is he can't use too much of the tires to get away from Silva, so that Silva isn't in his slipstream on the straights. That's gonna keep him together a bit. KG has pulled into the pits, probably to get new soft tires on the car. So DJM's now in the lead of the race. Going on to lap 10 now, 13. Silva is going to be well within the slipstream of the Aston Martin at this point.
A little wiggle there for DJM's coming out on the end of the Dunlop.
Yeah, definitely had a bit of a sideways moment there. That's what caused Silva to be right on the back of the Aston Martin now. See that Empower Motorsports logo just filling up the screen as Silva pulls to the left-hand side and makes the move before the braking zone. So Silva back in the lead.
Yeah, makes it stick. Yeah, makes it stick. Man, this is exactly what Silva wants. He wants to battle DJM as much as possible.
Yeah, Silva wants DJMs to use up those tires. Into the second chicane now. So DJM's just hanging back a little bit. I think DJM's realizes that his best bet might be just staying on the back bumper of that McLaren until he absolutely needs to make the pass. I think he might be aware of that tire wear possibility.
This is kind of shaping up to be almost like an oval track race, you know, where you don't really want to be in the lead in the closing stages of the lap or the race. And
Silva made a mistake though at the end of Mulsanne corner. DJM's got a much better run, and they're still alongside. They're gonna go through Indianapolis side by side. It looks like it. Neither of them really looks like they're backing down from this fight. Silva's just out dragged him, so that was almost a very risky maneuver. Silva back in front after DJM's was very momentarily got a front bumper ahead. Entering the Porsche curves now, DJM's is going to have a tire advantage still, but he's right under, he's got his nose right behind the rear wing of the McLaren. Not going to have the cleanest air around here.
Yeah, I forgot about DJM's. If he hangs behind Silva, yeah, not having that clean air is also going to make it harder on his tires. So he's kind of in a little bit of a bind here. Like it's beneficial for him to stay behind him in the straights, but it's kind of counterproductive for his tires to be behind him in the S's.
Yeah, he went a bit over the curves in the Ford chicane. I don't think he's gonna get a penalty from it, but the car just went airborne a bit, and it made it look like he cut the curb. I think he's safe though. So 0.8 seconds or so is the gap before the Mulsanne. Going through the S's. This has been a great battle so far between them. Meanwhile, it looks like KG on probably soft tires has improved his fastest lap to a 4:19.6. 3/10 faster than Silva's pole lap.
Has he done his second pit stop already?
I think so. Yeah, he's on softs. I must have.
Okay. Yeah. So he's in 5th position. He's got a 16-second gap to Moore. That's going to be tough to close in for 2.5 laps.
Yeah.
Moore doing a good job in 4th place. It's a great
Really
result
is.
for the
Yeah.
Wonder Bread team. If he can lock it in. There's still 2.5 laps left. So don't want to jinx anyone. D-Jams is not quite yeah, he's keeping his distance, it seems like. Still within the 1 second gap. I think he is hanging back. I think he's probably going to try to make a move in the last lap. I think
Yeah,
it's a smart move.
it seems like they're both going a little faster than they have been before. DJM's 1.4 seconds or so. I think up from his best time. Yeah, there it is. And yeah, they're both needing to fuel save still. Checking on Silva's fuel. Silva has a bit less than D-Jams again, so D-Jams really making the Aston Martin work with the fuel efficiency. He's gonna have a lot more resources basically to attack in the last couple laps. The Aston Martin was nearly in the back of Silva into Indianapolis. I think bit of a difference on the braking point there. We're lucky
Yeah,
not
that
to
was
get into
quite
each other.
close. Yeah, that was quite close.
He jams along the inside now, and he's made ahead before the Porsche curve, so he's going to be able to use the soft tire advantage with clean air, maybe gain a little distance. I can hear the front tires just sliding on the McLaren. Those mediums are starting to get a little worn, and behind the Aston Martin, it was just there was nothing on the front end. I couldn't get it turned in.
Yeah, earlier when we were talking about him taking the Porsche curves pretty wide. That was probably earlier. It was probably just straight up understeer. Oh, he gets
Yeah,
slapped with a 3-second penalty.
yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
huge.
rough.
That's gonna be huge
That sucks.
for him. Ooh, got into the back of D-Jams a little bit there. Into Dunlop. I think that penalty might be affecting him just a little bit. Knowing Silva though, he's gonna keep fighting here. So D-Jams has still gotta watch out. He'll know that Silva will have that 3 second. Silva just taking a look on the inside into the first chicane. Makes the move under braking. So Silva into first place, but he's got that 3 second penalty.
Yeah, that's a tough one. 3 seconds is so with the GT7 penalties. the longer your penalty is, the more magnified your time penalty becomes during the straight.
Yeah.
So in reality, even though it's only it's in reality it's 3 seconds, but or in actuality it's like
8 seconds.
probably 8 seconds. Yeah, and that's the difference between getting a penalty that's what half a second. It becomes maybe a second at most. It's not nearly as impactful
Right.
as a 3 second penalty is. Like as soon as you're on the straight and the car slows down for 3 seconds, you're just slowing down a lot more than you would if you just slow down for half a second. And it's that 3 second penalty is just a huge, 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 huge time loss.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna pick up another one on the exit of Ulsan corner there. He went wide again. Looking at his fuel, I don't know if I mean that's a very small amount of fuel to take another lap, and this lap's not even done yet.
Yeah, it looks like he had maybe been battling with DJMs too much and ran down his fuel a little bit too much.
He's picked up another 0.5 second penalty, so yeah, he's gonna be pulled alongside of the road here for quite some time. And D James is gonna have a gap here, so well, that'll be a relief to D James. Won't have to pull off any last lap overtakes or high risk maneuvers for the lead, so he's got it now. Allen in third place now. Um, if Silva, no, he's not gonna be able to stay out. Yes,
Yeah,
Sula.
that would potentially put that would put Allen in second and War on the podium for Team Wonder Bread.
Yeah,
So that would be a really nice result for him.
yeah. Silva's in the pits now, is getting a splash and dash.
It's quite unfortunate. Although then again, if he would have, I think he had his hands tied there. If he had fueled more, he wouldn't have been in a position to fight against DJMs.
Right.
He would have been further back. If he would have tried to save more fuel while fighting DJMs just this last past lap, I don't think he would have been able to keep his position. So, yeah, I don't know if there's much that he could have done there and kept first place, other than potentially hanging behind DJMs and saving his fuel. But then again, like I don't know if he would have been able to make a move on DJMs with more worn down mediums on the final lap versus
Right.
DJM's soft. So yeah, he's in a bit of a pickle there.
Yeah. So Silva has actually put on some soft tires, but oh, there might have been a miscommunication with the mechanics because I don't think they got the fuel can out. Um, that's that's not gonna be good for him.
Oh no, that's a huge blunder for the Senna engineering team, the pit crew. They'll have to have a debrief about that after the race for
Yeah, for
sure.
sure. KG, meanwhile, it looks like he's going to get some slipstream off of the McLaren as it starts to slow down there. Well, not much of one, but KG is about 1.8 seconds behind War. He's gained a significant amount of time. We're talking about how War might be able to pick up a podium here with with Silva's pit stop. KG might just want to steal that.
Yeah, this is also going to be real close. Looks like KG has been quick all day, so War hasn't. I haven't seen War really have been battling that much this race, and he's been having a relatively clean sheet so far. But KG is quick. It's going to be hard for him to keep him behind. He does have sufficient fuel though, and it seems like they're probably going to be pretty even on tires, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a straightforward battle towards the end from here, the two of them. Oh, unless that happens, KG just picked up a 0.5 second penalty. But he's alongside War now. War just behind. He's got the Renault emblem on the front of that car below the rear wing of the Ferrari. Backing off a little bit to give some room in the braking zone, but still there. He can make it work. KG's got that 0.5 second penalty to serve.
It's funny there, Silva confirming his skipping the fuel section of his pit stop in chat.
Yeah.
So unfortunate. Because he came out. If he got a little bit of fuel, he could have potentially fought for that podium spot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And now he's well down the order now, isn't he?
Yeah, I think his race is pretty much over at this point. I think he's going to be out of fuel and everyone's going to be able to catch up with him.
Back where D-Jams is here, so just exiting the Porsche curves, going into the Ford chicanes now. The last couple chicanes on the track for the race, rather. We were talking about how his conservation of fuel and tires might be too much. Turns out it was just perfectly enough, and everyone else didn't do enough. So well done to D-Jams. So that was incredibly calculated strategy. Rivaled Allen's of last week. Allen picks up P2. KG and War still battling it out for the podium place here. Like War Eagle might be a bit too far back to make a move into the chicanes. And KG will be able to take the podium. So it is a third place for ASF Racing Ferrari. Fourth place for War Eagle, though.
So close to that podium.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Still a good result for the Talladega Nights. Stenzel making it 2 Empowered Motorsport cars in the top 5. Will Jacob bringing it home in 6th place.
It's funny how earlier at the beginning of the race you mentioned that this is going to be a race of pretty much attrition, you know, if running clean laps, being consistent, and that's what I think at the end of the day, that's what lost, aside from his fuel issue, but Sylvia had that 3-second penalty that really cost him the race.
Yeah. Zazel putting his fastest lap up on the timing board on the last lap, 4 minute 25.5. Crackhead, Dinosaur, Bike Guru in 8th, 9th, and 10th. Lamb King entering the Ford chicane now. Had some, looks like he's been carrying some front end damage on that car for a while now.
11th is a really good result for Lamb King. He's been having a little bit of trouble in the last couple races, but 11th I think he could be really happy for.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. So Trackhead and Lamb King, War's teammates, so that'll be 4th, 8th and 11th for Talladega Nights? That's a solid result. And here comes Bishop flashing the lights as he's going through the Ford chicane. That's 12th place for him. 1st, 5th, and 12th for Empowered Motorsports. That'll bring a good amount of points for their championship battle with Bahamut.
It's such a shame. Silva had his issues with his fuel calculations.
I know, yeah.
His Sunny later has been kind of, I feel like, plagued by either racing incidents, penalties, and I guess overall mistakes. Like I think they're last in the constructors championship, but not by far. But these mistakes and these calculation errors is what's going to cost them the season of the constructors of potentially the difference between being third versus fifth. I think that's what's costing them.
Yeah, they're gonna have to figure it out soon for sure. I mean, we're halfway through the season now. This was round 3 of 6. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the teams kind of take their experience of the first 3 rounds and are able to apply it to the second half of the season and kind of mix things up. Um, but yeah, good result for Empowered Motorsports today. They'll be climbing up the team championship orders, and it looks like we got D-Jams to interview post race, and that was quite calculated. And we were talking about early on how much conserving is too much, but it wasn't too much. That was a perfect amount, and no one else did as much. No one else did enough, it
Yeah,
seemed.
yeah, I appreciate that. I did some of the numbers earlier this week, and as much as I wanted to have some, fight in me for fastest lap or something like that, it's just with a one-stop strategy, you want to reduce your fuel as much as possible, even if that means your second stint is the same slow and steady stint that you had the first time. And every time I thought about it otherwise, I thought about last week and some of the battles I had and what that cost me. And so I just decided restraint this week and to just keep it clean. I don't think I got a single penalty this race, which I think is also a huge testament to just, what I was trying to do out here. So appreciate it.
Yeah, we saw early on you were kind of backing off from a few battles in the first couple laps. Um, yeah, just like you said, just kind of thinking about last week, how much time you must have lost with fighting Silva. I mean, it was a good battle up until his unfortunate penalty and fuel
Hmm.
issue there
Hmm.
towards the
Yeah,
end.
well, what was interesting is during that section, I don't know if maybe our wires were crossed, but I was not actually fighting him. And by him constantly kind of pushing to get in front of me, he was actually giving me a huge advantage on fuel because I was able to draft him on all of the big straights. So I was really trying to just like let off earlier, let him kind of take the dive into the corner. I really didn't want to engage there because I knew an incident could cost me the entire race. So again, I just demonstrated restraint there, and I'm really, really pleased with the performance.
I noticed on lap 7 you decided to not, or it was I think it was lap 6 you decided not to pit, and then lap 7 you also didn't decide to pit, and you decided to run essentially a whole lap with pretty much dead tires. Was
Hmm.
that an intentional decision, or was that more of like a like last minute decision where you could say you had enough fuel for another lap, you might as well go for it? Like, what was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, it was plan A, 8 laps the whole time. I knew that I could let the front left die and that I knew how to drive this car without a front left. So I wasn't even looking at my tires. When I go back and look at the replay, I'll probably be like, oh shit, that was a bit close. But the reality is, I mean, I just understand this track. I understand where you want to push it, where you don't.
Mm,
And the plan was always 8 laps, hit, and then just stay on that same fuel conserve strategy to the end.
Nice.
smart.
Well, the patience certainly paid off. Great win today. Uh,
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you. Can't wait to
Yeah,
watch the stream.
congratulations.
yeah. Yeah, it looks like we got was it Alan that jumped in here too?
Hey guys.
Yeah, how's it going? Uh, yeah, another really good result from you today. Second place, bringing home some good points for the team yet again. How'd the car feel out there?
The car felt a little different than what I did in a lot of my like single player and lobby runs, but I think time wise, like it all kind of like panned out. I really enjoyed prepping for this race a lot. I knew after last week's result, DJMs was going to reevaluate and kind of see where he went wrong. And I remember talking to you guys last week about like strategy is kind of like my like main tool in the box, and I knew he was going to like meet me at that level the next race. So he obviously did. I'm going to be like so like curious to like go through this replay bit by bit and see how we did things differently. But it was a good race. I kind of did the whole like lurk in the shadows again with him and Silva, so it just didn't pan out this time. So I'm a little bummed, but I'm happy to be on the podium.
Yeah, we were thinking it was gonna come up with a similar result towards the end. You four were actually in the same order at the beginning than the Catalunya, I think. It was kind of like a deja vu moment. Um, but yeah, another good drive from you. Like you said, you were kind of in the background. There wasn't much focus on you, but yeah, brought it home for another solid result. P2, good race.
Thank you. Yeah, Silva's and DJM's rivalry is one of my favorite to watch. Not only because I get
Oh
to see the
yeah,
replays, but like I can quite literally just follow them and see it kind of play out.
right.
I don't know if you guys saw it in the qualifying, but I think they got in each other's way, and I had pole for like half a lap, or not a half lap, but
Yeah,
like
we
a
saw
lap.
that.
Yeah, they definitely
Yeah,
did.
we saw that play through. We were like joking that they were already starting to battle before the race even started, so that was pretty funny to
Yeah,
see.
so I was in the back like, please, just keep tussling, and I might be able to land pole on this. But they put down some incredible laps, so I'm happy for them. I'm also happy for KG and the rest of my team. Um, they kind of took my guidance with the one stop, and I think it paid off. I'm going to be excited to debrief with them, but I gotta half this result is their victory as well. So
Yeah.
they're a great bunch of people, Azazel and Dinosaur.
All right. Well, it was a great race overall. We didn't see any safety cars. We didn't see any rain after talking about it. Maybe they talking about it scared it away. Um, but yeah, a second race I think where it was mostly down to intended strategy, no virtual safety car to contend with to mix up the strategy. Had drivers second guessing, so it was really just a straight pace from beginning to end.
Yeah, and I think that was I think for this first season I'd like to see kind of more straight races based on pace, strategy, and consistency a little bit more than the luck of the draw with rain. I think rain for our first season might be a little on the more challenging side, but also it's fun to see the skill and the strategy play out more than everything be kind of thrown up in the air with rain. At least that's my personal preference with this series so far. I think later once the field tightens and people have more strategies that are optimal and things are starting to get figured out, I think it'll be end up being more fun to have rain tossed in to mix things up.
And I'm already excited for season two. We're not even halfway through season one.
I know, I'm already thinking about season two. It's just yeah. Speaking of this current season, so the next week we're gonna have a break for the Thanksgiving holiday week, and we'll resume the season the following week.
All right. Oh, where are we at in 2 weeks' time?
So in 2 weeks' time, that puts us in, I think, already in December. Can't believe it's already in December.
Let's
So that
see.
would
So
be,
track list Spa. It looks like.
yes, that's right, Spa, and it actually won't be in December. It'll be November 28th.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be Spa, November 28th. Spa is also always a great track, an amazing track for racing and strategy.
Yeah.
And the track limits there aren't as bad as Sarthe, but there's also a possibility of rain as well on Spa, so
Right.
that is something to take in consideration.
Yeah. Well, another great race. Both the sprint and the feature very interesting today. We'll be back in 2 weeks' time at Spa, and we'll see you then.